Greetings, students of the Force, and welcome back to the channel. One of the aspects of Star Wars lore that fascinates me a great deal is the prophecy of the Chosen One, as well as Darth Sidious' own interpretation of the Chosen One prophecy, something that he has not directly addressed until the book Secrets of the Sith, which is canon. Palpatine's relationship with the prophecy is exceedingly interesting, as the prophecy of course details the destruction of the Sith and balance on the Force, and we never really get to see Darth Sidious comment on this or why he decided to train and corrupt Anakin Skywalker if he may actually be the one to bring the Sith to an end. We know that Darth Sidious believes himself to be the culmination of the entirety of the Sith lineage, being the last in line of the Rule of Two established by Darth Bane and pioneered by Darth Revan. So, if this was his religion through and through, why did Darth Sidious want to train and give away all of his secrets and powers in the Force to the man that was prophesied to destroy this ancient order? The answer is actually exceedingly interesting and a very unique one. First though, we have to understand what Secrets of the Sith is. The novel is told from Palpatine's perspective, as he gives his thoughts and opinions on various Jedi and Sith alike, as well as details various decisions that he made over his long rule. In the book, there are several passages about the Chosen One and essentially why Palpatine could not resist the urge to train Anakin. He begins by saying that he is the most powerful Darksider that the galaxy has ever seen, and that there is no equal in terms of the raw force potential that he possesses within the darkness. However, there is one bloodline that fascinates him. One bloodline which Palpatine explicitly states rivals him in the Force, if not the dark side specifically. That of course is the Skywalkers. The novel essentially explains that Sidious could not help himself, and that when an individual who was massively powerful in the Force, and with the potential to become the only Darksider more powerful than Sidious himself, he could not resist, and determined that he would in fact train Anakin. However, he grows to believe more and more in the Chosen One prophecy as time goes on, but he does not interpret it the way that the Jedi do. The Jedi interpret things much different. They interpret balance in the Force to mean ultimate peace and the Jedi reigning supreme, with their balance being the true balance and representation of what the Force should be, while Darth Sidious actually believes that there's a far different interpretation to this. He believes that the Jedi have held power for far too long, and that balance in the Force is constantly in flux, and this is a pendulum swing. Because of the fact that the Jedi have essentially held power for thousands of years, it is time for the Sith to regain power in the galaxy once more, which is why Darth Sidious actually actively believes in this Chosen One prophecy, or at least aspects of it. But this still doesn't explain why Darth Sidious would be okay with him destroying the Sith, when in actuality, it does actually explain this. Essentially, Darth Sidious had plans to remake the Sith in a brand new image. The Sith Rule of Two came to an end, and in Darth Sidious's mind, he speculated that the Order of the Sith may also be coming to an end. But just because the Sith are not there, this does not mean that the Empire and the dark side will no longer prevail, as Darth Sidious believes that by encasing all of his power and all of the Sith Lords that came before him, he can become essentially a Force God, and that Anakin Skywalker may actually be the key to this. The book goes as follows: "None in the galaxy have ever proved my equal in the power of the dark side, but in the matters of the Force, there is one bloodline that cannot be ignored. The Skywalkers. My most powerful apprentice, Darth Vader, was born a Skywalker. Though his darkness was feared across the galaxy, there still remained a loathsome spark of light buried within him, and in the end, he failed to smother it." Young Anakin began his life as nothing more than a slave on the desert world of Tatooine, but the boy was blessed with a power unrivaled by any except for my own. Anakin was believed by the Jedi to be a Vergence, an entity surrounded by a rare concentration of light side Force energy. They even convinced themselves that the child was the Chosen One described in an ancient Jedi prophecy. So certain were they that Anakin would bring balance to the Force, that the Jedi failed to consider what that might truly mean for them. What's unique about this is it confirms that Darth Sidious did actually believe in aspects of the Chosen One prophecy himself, although he interpreted it much different, as Yoda and Mace Windu even have a conversation about this much earlier, that prophecies can even be potentially misread. In the end, Darth Sidious believed that Anakin Skywalker was perhaps the Chosen One, and that he would in fact destroy the Sith and potentially remake them, similarly to how Darth Bane did. Thousands of years before Anakin, there was an ancient prophecy about Darth Bane that foretold the destruction of the Sith, And Darth Sidious actively thought back to this moment, as in the end, it did mean the destruction of the Sith at the time, but not the destruction of the Order as a whole. Instead, Darth Bane did destroy the Sith, but then remade it in a more efficient manner, a manner that has now garnered Darth Sidious all of the power he could ever want, and the entire galaxy in the palm of his hand. He believed potentially the same thing could be true with Anakin Skywalker, and that the Sith could be destroyed but then ultimately remade. He also believed in this balance in the Force, but not how the Jedi interpreted it. Again, the Jedi believed balance to be light in its purest form. However, Darth Sidious took a deep look at the Force itself and its status within the galaxy at the time. The light was in overwhelming control of everything. The Jedi Order had all but squandered out in their minds the Sith, and the dark side would never return again. Palpatine played into their arrogance and hubris, and his interpretation of the Chosen One prophecy actually delves further into this. The fact that he would believe that the Chosen One would bring balance to the Force by again swinging the pendulum back in the order of the dark side, because of the simple fact that the Jedi attempted to squander the powers of the dark side. However, the Jedi failed to note one crucial mistake, that just like the light side of the Force and the Force itself, the dark side is something that is eternal. It is something that cannot be destroyed. The dark side cannot be remade. The Sith, however, are not the dark side itself. And even Darth Sidious believed that the Sith could be remade in a more powerful image, potentially an eternal, all-powerful image. This is essentially what he is attempting to do in The Rise of Skywalker, as Darth Sidious believes that the Sith eternal and the Sith are two different orders with two different goals and beliefs, and that essentially the Sith eternal is the evolution of the previous Sith Empire. But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the fact that Darth Sidious actually may have believed in parts of the Chosen One prophecy, but how he interpreted it to be much different than what the Jedi expected? How Darth Sidious viewed this ancient Jedi prophecy as a tool and a weapon for the dark side to be manipulated and corrupted, but while the Jedi believed foolishly that the Sith would completely come to an end. Leave your thoughts and interpretations on this down below, and which of the two do you believe is more accurate? Palpatine's interpretation of the prophecy or the Jedi? Also, students of the Force, if you have not subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so to keep up to date with everything Star Wars related. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.